After about 10 days of resting and recovering from my sickness, I headed out of Guatemala City. I wasn't going to take any more chances with my health, only good, clean water from now on.
Welcome to Cranking It, yeah, we cranking it. Welcome to Cranking It, yeah, we cranking it.
I was a bit tired of all the constant climbing through the mountains, so I decided to head south and ride the highway for a bit. Alright, I'm out of Guatemala, and I've left behind the highlands. I'm now in El Salvador, riding along the coast. I didn't realize how much I missed the coast. The smell of the sea and the sound of the waves were a welcome change from the mountains I was used to. Feeling a lot better after last episode. It's a shame I was sick for most of my time in Guatemala. Seems like a really beautiful country. Definitely want to go back. Before long, I crossed the River Lempa, the massive river separating eastern El Salvador from the west. Before entering Honduras, I had to try out the typical Salvadorian dish pupusas, which are pretty similar to gorditas from Mexico. Well, I left El Salvador today. I'm in Honduras now. Salvador was a nice country, you know, it was, I really enjoyed visiting the coast, visiting the beach. The volcanoes and everything were really beautiful. I really loved the sort of lush jungle parts that I went through as well. It kind of made me wish I had more time there. I pretty much rode highways through the whole thing. You know, this heat just ain't stopping, and kind of looking forward to getting through the worst of it. The rainy season had definitely started. Fortunately, some firefighters let me camp at the station. I only spent about 2 days in Honduras. Then the long line of trucks let me know I had reached another border, this time with Nicaragua. Well, here's camping for the night. It's a nice little, what seems like an abandoned restaurant. Talked to the owner across the street. The caretaker is letting me stay here for the night. It's right by the lake. It's a little dirty, but the guy gave me a broom. So I'm just going to do a little sweeping up and then set up my tent. For a few weeks, my front tire had been giving me issues. It had developed a small bulge so that it bumped as I rode. Finally, after putting it off for far too long,
I took the time to swap it with my spare while I was in Managua.
So I've been riding a lot of highways recently, and that's been a nice change of pace. They're pretty flat, great shoulders, and it's been nice really getting big distance every day. But they're also not super exciting. And so, now that I'm in Nicaragua, just checking out a few little side roads, side trails. Maybe see if I can have a little adventure. A bit more hills, again. Should be nice. I'm headed towards the Emerald Coast, so I might get a little bit of coastal riding. You know, one of the things I love most about cycle touring is you never know what you're gonna get. You know, when I get up most mornings, I don't really have a good idea of where I'll be sleeping that night. Last night I was given permission to sleep in a school, so that was a first for this trip. Just set up my tent in a classroom. Had to be out before 7, but it was good. There was a guy there, a night watchman, I guess. We hung out for a bit and talked, chatted. And he also has a chicken farm that he runs here. He's got a lot of family in the US, it sounds like. And he's thought about going, but I think he's got a life here. It's pretty well set up. He told me he makes about $400 a month, which is more than enough to feed him and his wife and kid. So he's pretty happy to stay in Nicaragua. In other news, I just noticed this morning the rear tire seems like it's starting to crack. So I don't know if that's gonna be an issue. I'm meeting my dad in Costa Rica. He's gonna be bringing me some new tires, so I don't really want to buy tires right before I meet with him. So might try to get them to last all the way to Costa Rica.
After leaving the coast, I headed back inland to Lake Nicaragua, where I took the ferry to Ometepe Island. Ometepe is an island formed from 2 connected volcanoes. It's a quiet place full of beautiful nature, as well as quite a bit of tourism.
It happened. Finally blew out. So, God, I wish I hadn't changed that tire. It's funny, it was like something I was putting off forever, changing the front tire. And finally I was like, okay, don't be lazy. Just take the time to do it. So I sat down and I did it. Now I wish I hadn't. You know, sometimes being lazy is the correct course of action.
Fortunately, the tire had come apart right at the ferry terminal, so I was able to get on board and get a new tire at the market in town, back on the mainland. After it was installed, I was back on the road.
Well, rain season is here, clearly. But you know, I'll take it. At least it's not hot. It's around, it's almost 6. It's almost sunset. Don't really have a place to camp quite yet. I think in about 8 kilometers there's a town that has a restaurant where people sometimes are able to camp. So I guess that's the goal. Well, I got to the restaurant, but it turned out it's not a restaurant, but rather a bar. I don't care about people drinking. However, the thing about bars is they often play music, loud music, late into the night. So probably wouldn't have stopped here if I had known. But now I'm here. I'm hoping everybody goes home and they turn off the music and also the lights, but it looks like it's probably not going to happen for a while. So I was just hanging out at the bar for a little bit, and some local patrons came over and took pity on me, and you know, they told me it was since it's Mother's Day, May 30th in Nicaragua, that it was going to be a late night of partying, and there was no way I was going to get any sleep. That looked like that was going to be the case. So after asking around, one of the guys offered to take me to the border where there's a hostel. So got in the back of his van, put the bike in the back, and drove a couple miles to the border here. So now I'm at a hostel. It did cost another $15 to stay here. Not the ideal situation. Definitely slept in better places for about the same.
The next day, I crossed into Costa Rica.
Crossed the border yesterday, and last night I stayed with some migrant workers, actually. It was raining pretty hard, so I just stopped in this shelter-looking building, and there was a bunch of workers there. And they let me stay the night, and turned out that they were all from Nicaragua. Seems like that's a somewhat common thing around here, is you know, I think they would rather go to the United States, but that could be pretty expensive. It costs around $5,000. So Costa Rica is the next best thing.
At this point, it was time to leave the highway behind once again and take side roads up into the mountains. My dad arranged to meet me at a property that his cousin rents out near Liberia. It was another relaxing week, filled with bird watching, nature walks, and a trip up to the cloud forest at Monteverde. My dad also brought me an entire new drivetrain, new pedals, a new bottom bracket, a new crank with a lower gear down to 21 teeth, a new chain, a new cassette with a lower gear, up to 40 teeth, and a new rear derailleur to accommodate the larger sprocket. He also brought me a front rack to replace the cages for a more sturdy way to carry my sleeping setup. Soon, my dad and I will ride together for about 5 days to San Jose, where he'll fly back home and I will continue through Costa Rica and finally, Panama. Well, that's episode 9. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon, and especially my Crank Tier supporters, Judy Friesem, Dan Phillips, Graham Baron Mickle, Kate and Mike Glasser, Jane Hilton, JK, and Michael Barker. If you'd like to help support the channel, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help keep the channel growing. Or you can join the Crankin' It community on Patreon. Links are in the description. And thank you.